58% of CEOs are over 6 feet tall, what would your response be to that? Does that sound like a normal representation of society? Because 58% of CEOs of Fortune 500 companies are over 6 feet tall, but if you look at what is the normal distribution, if you like, of what's normality for over 6 feet tall, only 14.5% of American men are over 6 feet tall, right? So obviously, when people are deciding on criteria to promote people to CEO level, they're not looking at height, but obviously that is creeping into people's unconscious somewhere. So my name is Carroll, and my business is Potiental. I help organisations with strategy, and I also run XX programs which are looking at inclusion and diversity, and running workshops on unconscious bias and inclusive leadership. So today I'm going to talk to you for 15 minutes on unconscious bias, what is it, examples of it, the effects that it has, and some measures that individuals and organisations take to address it. Okay? So, the human brain is quite an amazing thing, as we all know. We generally process something like 10 to 40 million bits of information at any moment in our brain. But according to research, only 40 of those are processed consciously. So there's an awful lot of unconscious thought going on in our brain. And generally that serves us really well because, like, obviously, in prehistoric times, if you were out hunting and you came across a lion, it wouldn't have served you well to stand there and consciously process the information. This is a large animal with a big hairy mane and ferocious teeth who looks as if he's going to eat me, what shall I do? You have an unconscious reaction to this, and it has served us very well. Similarly, if we were all going around driving the way we did consciously when we first were learning how to drive, the roads would be quite dangerous places if we were trying to juggle 10 things at the one time consciously. But obviously we've all learned to do that unconsciously. So unconscious thinking serves us very well. The problem with it is that it leads us to make quick decisions, it leads us to make quick judgments, and obviously then it leads us to make mistakes. So what are the I suppose, the characteristics on which we can actually make quick decisions? Well, gender is obviously, or sex is obviously the big one, that people can make decisions or assumptions about people based on whether they're male or female. They can make assumptions about people based on their race, based on their height, which I've already alluded to, ageism, how good looking you are, and I mean there's a whole load of variables, if you like, introverted versus extroverted, left-handed versus right-handed, social class that you come from, it just goes on, right? So at the end of the day, actually, we have multiple variations, if you like, as human beings. And I suppose the good news, as I see it, is, like, who's biased? Well, actually, the good news is that we're all biased, and I think the good thing about this is that, we're not in a position where we can kind of go, well, if that shower over there all changed, well, then everything would be fine. Because the reality of it is that we all grew up in society, we all have these biases. And I don't know whether any of you have actually looked at the Harvard implicit association tests, but if you Google those, and if you go and you take them online, you can go and take them online, you can see for yourself, you can actually measure what your own biases are with regard to a whole load of different variables, like gender, like race, like sexuality, and so on. And what's really interesting is that even if you very firmly believe that that a very important value for you is equality and justice and fair play and so on, a lot of people find that even if they believe that actually we have these unconscious biases or these unconscious tendencies. So I'm just going to give you a few examples now of how it plays out. So one of them, for example, is the paradigms that we have in society for, say, leadership and the types of roles or occupations that people should have. So the one that I like to quote with regard to leadership is, there was a study done where they asked people, what are the characteristics that you associate with being a leader? And then what are the characteristics that you associate with being male, and what are the characteristics you associate with being female? And they found that there was a 90% overlap between the characteristics that people deemed to be male and leader, and only a 10% overlap with those that they deemed to be female and leader. And the problem with this is that, if you actually are in a decision-making place, you can actually, that can bring to bear, and that you can actually, if you're thinking of leaders, you automatically think of the people that kind of traditionally display leadership characteristics. I don't know if any of you recognise this woman, but if any of you have actually seen Sheryl Sandberg's TED Talk, she referred to this woman. This woman's name is Heidi Rosen. And Heidi Rosen is maybe was a Silicon Valley executive, and she was extremely successful in networking. She was so successful that there was a Harvard Business Review case study written about her. So, I don't know, I think it was either Columbia University or Princeton University. There was a professor there who said, you know what, I'm going to take this case study and I'm going to actually give it out to my class, but I'm going to give 50% of the class the Heidi version, and I'm going to change the name on the other 50% to Howard, and I'm going to give that out, right? And so then he said, okay class, what do you think of this person? And they all agreed unanimously that this person was actually clearly a very competent person. But when it came to Howard, the people who were reading the Howard case study said, yeah, like, he seems like a nice guy, he's the type of guy you'd like to go for pints with after work. When it came to Heidi and he asked for their view, a bit pushy, right? So the message is exactly the same description, just changing the name from male to female. There were different judgments given to those people, and the woman was deemed to be more pushy than the guy, even though they had the exact same description. And so this is what's known as the double bind. Women are often told, you're not really assertive enough and you kind of need to, make your voice heard a bit more, but then when you do, you're deemed to be too pushy or to be too assertive, right? Another one is the different standards. A good example was CVs, a CV study that was done, and actually there have been many, many variations of this done, but the one I'm going to quote to you is a CV study that was done in London. And what they did was they actually took CVs, and the exact same CV, and they put a white-sounding name and a non-white sounding name on the CV, right? And distributed them to 50% of participants and 50% of participants. And what they found, shockingly, was that the ones with the white-sounding name, the participants, 70% of the participants who read those deemed that person worthy of hire. The exact same CV, but with a non-white sounding name, the participants, only 40% of them deemed that person worthy of hire. So there was a not insignificant difference between how people judged the CVs based on the ethnicity, if you like, of the name at the top of the CV. And similarly in the States, there was a similar study done where they looked at an assistant professorship, and they sent CVs out. Again, this time what they did was they put a male name and a female name at the top, exact same CV. The participants, 79% of the ones who read the male one deemed him worthy of hire, and 49% of the ones who read the female one deemed her worthy of hire. And what was an additional thing that they noted was that there were 4 times more doubt-raising questions raised with regard to the female one. Things like, well, that was interesting research she did, but I'd like to see some evidence that she actually did that on her own, right? I suppose there are other things that influence us, the weather, for example. So the University of Toronto Medical School, they decided to do a research to see whether it was raining or sunny on the day of somebody's interview was going to influence their success at interview. So they looked back at the interview records of over 3,000 students between the years of 2004 and 2009. And what they discovered was that when it was raining, the students who were interviewed on the day it was raining versus the students who were interviewed on the day it was sunny, that it made a difference of, on average, let me just double check this, it was equivalent to reducing their MCAT, which is their medical college admission tests, right, the results, by 10%. So that's significant, right? You'd obviously be pushing for an interview on a sunny day if that was the case. And how many of you think that you're influenced by supermarket music? So the University of Leicester, they went into a supermarket and they put French and German wine on the shelves, right? And what they did then was, on alternate days, they played French music and flew French flags, and then on the other days, they played German music and waved German flags. And what they found was that on the days that they played French music and so on, that something like 77% of people bought French wine. And on the days when they played German music, I think it was like, 73% of people bought German wine. And what was really interesting about this was that only 14% of the people actually remembered hearing the music, and only one person in the whole study said, acknowledged that perhaps the music might have influenced them. So I think this is really interesting, that, research would indicate that we're influenced by this stuff, but we don't even sometimes realise that it's going on in the background. And I've already alluded to the height one. 58% of CEOs of Fortune 500 companies are over 6 feet tall, as against the average, as against the statistic that only 14.5% of men in America are over 6 feet tall. So I suppose they're examples, so I suppose you could say, well, so what? I mean, does it actually matter? What are the effects? This is a study that was actually done over 20 years ago. And what they said was, let's look at what happens when you have only, because you could say, well, 1% bias. I mean, who cares? Does that really matter? Does that really have an impact at the end of the day? So what they did was they kind of mimicked by computer, they mimicked a company with 8 levels in it, right? And they started off with 500 people coming in, entering at the bottom, 50% of whom were male, 50% of whom were female. And what they programmed in a 1% bias in promotion at each level, right? And they ran the program something like 20 times until everybody had gone through. And they did have some fallout. I think they ended up with something like, 500 at the bottom, 10 people at the top. But what they found was that 1% bias at each level resulted in only 35% females at the top of the ladder. So bias does matter, and 1% bias and small, seemingly insignificant percentages of bias do matter. Another effect is that, as an organisation, if you're only kind of recognising the talent that's going around making themselves obvious and talking about themselves and promoting themselves, you're discriminating against people that might be naturally introverted. I don't mean you're discriminating against them. What I mean is that you're actually not getting the full benefit of that talent. You might have these very talented people who don't go around self-promoting, but if you're not actually watching out for that and realising that sometimes people who are the best skilled for the job don't necessarily put their hand up or acknowledge that in themselves. So that's another effect of the bias. And, one of the biases, or the research would indicate that, for example, women don't self-promote as much as men, or look at job applications or job advertisements and kind of say, look, I can, and there's multiple pieces of research on this. They would look at a job ad and they would say, okay, I can do 80% of it, therefore I'm going to wait until the next time. Whereas men tend, and I don't like to generalise or stereotype, but the research would indicate, tend to look at it and say, oh, I'll give it a shot. And I'm not saying for one moment that every man and every woman behave that way, but the research would seem to indicate that that's the tendency. And organisations also lose out, obviously, in organisational performance, because it's well established at this stage. If you look at McKinsey, if you look at Catalyst, if you look at some of their research, it's well established that gender balanced management teams, gender balanced boards, organisations perform better. An interesting one, I think, is Google. So Google, it might be prior to their time, but the first video uploader that they developed, right? What they discovered was that 5% of them were actually uploading upside down, and they couldn't really figure this out. Why are 5% of them uploading upside down? And they realised that actually what was happening was, this was the first iteration, that left-handed people were actually, when they went to upload it, it actually resulted in it being uploaded upside down, and they realised, of course, that they had no left-handed people in the product development team. So that's just one other, difference, I suppose, that can have, that can manifest itself in kind of faulty results. And then just very quickly on addressing it. So what can individuals do? And I guess the first thing is acknowledge that we all have the biases. Everybody has biases because we've grown up in a society where there are biases. And perhaps too, I'll just pick some of these out. One of the things that I love is to expose yourself to positive role models for other groups. So read books about groups that you don't know an awful lot about, or read books about their lives. To hold yourself accountable and to support. If you see somebody else being treated badly or bias, to actually stand up for that person. And organisations, very quickly, they can audit, they can collect data, they can actually program, within their structures and their processes to make sure that unconscious bias is actually not eliminated but addressed in decision making. Training in unconscious bias, some visible diversity, and accountability and rewarding. Again, holding managers accountable and rewarding them for positive action in this regard. So that's it. Thanks very much. I don't know if anyone has any quick questions.